got Don Fowler with me here. We're hoping to pull these 6 or 7 cameras I got and take inventory. Nobody's hunted this place. We haven't really run cameras on here all year, so this is pretty exciting. Let's see if this scrape got hit. This was probably the biggest scrape I found on the whole farm, and I walked it pretty good a couple weeks ago. But the backside of this little piece of standing corn kind of comes together with a big logging road here, another logging road over there, and it creates this little back corner travel corridor. 185 videos. 185 chances of there being a giant on here. Branch is just mangled. We've got 2 or 3 really good trees back here. It would be a quick, easy hang with no kind of cutting shooting lanes or anything, low intrusive, so we could set one there for a southwest wind and probably come in here and set the box on that side for some kind of a north wind, and then leave enough standing corn to use a shield to be getting in and out of here. There's a big trail that comes right out of this, right out of the corner right here. That's getting wore out. 2 trails within 10 yards. Could hang in one of these trees. This very, very north portion of the farm, when we got in here walking around in the summertime, we noticed that it was a south-facing slope in here. And we were like, man, how cool would it be to have, to cut this a little bit harder and have it regenerate and be really, really, really thick in the future, and have kind of like a sanctuary bedding area that sits way up on the north side of the farm. So in relation to food, these deer only got to get out of their bed and walk about 200 yards. You got this little inside road right here that parallels the food. Sometimes when we do these logging projects and we know we're gonna have like a real hot spot corner, we'll create these little inside travel corridors so that you can hunt just off the food. You're still using the power of the food to draw the does and concentrate scent. But when a big deer comes in, most of the time he's just gonna cruise inside the timber on the downwind side and check everything and never have to step out. So it's a little bit more strategy on how you can hunt food without actually sitting on the food. This is what you call cutting it hard. If you look up, hardly any treetops up there. And what that does is it lets tremendous amount of light down to the dirt so that this stuff can regenerate and get nasty thick. If you look over here, you see the difference in the canopy. You know, that got cut just super light, just pecked through there, grabbed a couple trees out of there, put a little bit of a road in. But when we got over here, from here on this knob, all the way over there on that south-facing slope, we smoked it. And we didn't do it for the money, we didn't do it for anything other than this was the location for a bedding thicket in relation to food, in relation to south-facing slope. Like, it just worked. What do you think, Don?
I think you smoked it. I can't imagine what this is going to look like, though, a year from now. It'll be a big difference in a short time.
We went to cast a year later, and Bobby and I were in the bottom, and we're standing like in a place just like this, and the weeds are like over our heads. In 1 year. These deer like to get out on these little ends, these little hogs backs. And if you look back towards the food, we're downhill just enough. Like a deer could be literally just bedded right here. We're 100 yards off the food right here. You can come in and out to your box blind, and because this cover rolls just enough off the ends, and all these treetops, because we cut them with the leaves on, it's like a barrier. And these leaves will stay on these tops for 2 years before they fall off. That field is actually on the neighbors. It's a very small crop field, way tucked back in, no road frontage. I mean, like, the perfect place for a big deer to just kind of call home and eat with no intrusion. Well, the corner of this 80 kind of comes up like this and touches the bottom side of that field. There's also 2 creek drainages that come together, 3 bottoms that come together. We actually put a nice big road system that comes, which is what I'm standing on. You can get here in and out quietly. You've got the cover that is created by the treetops to get in and out of here without being seen. Just for several reasons. So, like, another positive of doing a timber project the correct way is you can find these spots and then figure out, okay, what do we do through the timber project to where I can get back in here and take advantage of how good a place this really is. This camera's kind of in the middle of the 80. You got a logging road coming this way, a logging road coming this way. A little spot that got cut a little bit harder over here. And there was 2 big scrapes. I mean, they're hammering this.
The way the wind's been blowing, they've been covered up in a short time.
Smell them still too. Before the timber project started, you know, I'm going to guess that those scrapes probably were not there. We created this big, beautiful road down through the middle of this ridge. Those roads that we created, you know, they're doing 2 things. They're giving us access for us to hunt and get deer out and do whatever, but they're also creating major travel corridors for deer. So the more deer that use the road, the more scent that builds up on the road, and these bucks figure out that all of the doe concentration is up and down these roads, which is why the bucks are scraping there, because that's where they know the does are going to be eventually. There's this perfect double white oak. Probably going to recommend that we put a ladder up in there. Your perimeter scrapes get hit a lot more often, but when you find these big internal scrapes like that, then it's something you need to pay attention to. And this one just happens to be on a big road intersection with the perfect tree, and right behind this tree, you see this ravine that starts to fall off real quick. What's going to happen with a north wind and a cooling thermal, the thermal's going to come down and the terrain is going to suck that thermal down into the bottom. So all your hunting is up here on this flat. Just totally painted the picture of this hunting spot right here in the middle of the woods that before we did this was just another place on top of a ridge. It looks like cattle have been through here, and we are deep in this 80. We're not up by the food. I mean, we're way back on the back side of this. I got a camera right here. You know, you got all this bedding cover in here with all these treetops holding their leaves, and it's just this little back side of this knob back here just got a really good vibe to it, and the deer like it for some reason too, because I mean, it is just ridiculous back in here. 436 videos.
That ought to tell you something.
436 videos of a one-horned spike buck eating an acorn right here. Somebody's gonna have a really, really good hunting farm here. 1 hour from St. Louis, 1 hour from Springfield. Don, what's it like?
15 minutes to the interstate?
Yeah, 10 minutes south of Litchfield. I mean, you got all the amenities, hotels, restaurants.
The quality of the deer in this area is kind of a well-kept secret. It's blessed with big deer in this country. Just to share with you about some of the success we've had in this area, on my personal farm, we've been blessed with harvesting a deer in excess of 150 inches for 15 years in a row. This year, we've got 3 that we have taken. So we've been very successful, and as I said, only 20 minutes from this farm right here. And also, I wanted to tell you about quail. We ran into quail on this farm, which is kind of a nice bonus.
And there's no shortage of turkeys on this place, I guarantee you.
Well, turkeys are kind of new to the area, maybe 10, 15 years, and they're not real smart, so you might keep that in mind.
I think they all live on this farm, actually. So when you look at the wide aerial photo, you see how much connecting timber comes into here. This piece ties into the big timber on the east, and then on the west, it breaks into big wide open. So this is kind of like the last little bit of cover that these deer stage up in before they go out into the tillable field. What I liked about this piece the first time we looked at it was that it had been so lightly hunted for a long time. And I know you told me that when we first looked at it, but when I walked it, there's literally no evidence of hunting. There's no old tree stands, there's no shooting houses, there's no ground blinds blown in the bushes from years ago. Like all the typical things you usually see when a place is getting hunted, this had none of them. Super intriguing. So just having that as a basis is exciting.
Absolutely.
You know, on top of taking the no pressure, and grooming it and tweaking it and doing all these little things through the Whitetail Group that have turned this into an extraordinary piece of ground. I mean, I'm super excited to show some people this, and feel free to contact me or Don for more questions or to schedule a showing.